Hey Pisces, it's Romy. Welcome to the channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you have a Pisces sun, rising or moon sign, then this is a general reading for the month of October 2020. It might well resonate for you. The readings are blends of astrological influences, working with the tarot and connecting in with my guides. Together I intuit messages, guidance and information that's going to help you to navigate through the coming weeks. I really appreciate you being here. I hope you enjoy the reading. If you do, please do drop me a like and a comment. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel, and you can also join me for the extended version. You'll find the details for that in the description box and in the comment section beneath. So I'm going to go ahead and get started, Pisces. We'll see what is coming up in October. Okay, Pisces, so just as I was getting ready to connect in for your October reading, I happened upon this quote by somebody called A. Rose, and it read, "She says she's tired of everything, but look at her, she's still fighting." And it felt really poignant to share with you, because I think when we look at the extraordinary events and what it's done and how it's influenced and impacted you throughout the course of 2020, we arrive upon October and you step forward in this beautiful earthly energy of just saying, do you know what, bring it on, because even though I might be exhausted, even though there may be aspects of my life that are not where I want them to be, and I'm still showing up and I'm still trying and I'm still committing to that vision, you're fighting. And I think more than ever, you're realizing what you're fighting for, Pisces. That makes sense? Now, this is a month, October, incredibly magical, incredibly alchemical, and it's intense, yeah? There's a productive quality to the intensity, if that makes sense. We have a full moon opening on the 1st of the month in the sign of Aries, activating your second house of value, of the way that you respect yourself and how that impacts on your material abundance. And I love that the Queen of Coins is showing up to just mirror that for us. And then we close out on the 31st with a second full moon, a blue moon in the sign of Taurus. Beautiful earthy energy again. Also the same day, of course, as Halloween and Samhain, that beautiful time of celebration. Now there's an interesting placement with Uranus there, so I think it's going to be a very revelationary, surprising kind of climax to the month. And then of course, you know, in between this kind of sacred container of energy, as these two full moons bookend the month, we have Venus moving into Virgo on the 2nd, activating your 7th house of relationships. And in fact, Venus is trining Jupiter, Pluto and Saturn this month. So in spite of the hostility and a Mercury retrograde kind of getting in the way, I actually think for many Pisceans, October is going to yield the chance to actually have some really sweet breakthroughs and some meaningful change in important relationships and partnerships. Yeah, and of course Libra season is your 8th house of partnerships, shared money and resources. So you're coming across with this Queen of Coins as determined, as resourceful, as focused, knowing what it is that you need to get done. And, you know, in spite of the backdrop of this kind of chaotic energy, what I'm seeing is you're going to make it work for you. Beautiful, the alchemist, magician energy. It is that resourcefulness. I think that's probably the most important word that wants to come through here. And as part of that, you need to trust where you're at right now, you know. This current situation that you're going through is an opportunity to completely reevaluate and reimagine what you want. You want to go bigger? Now's the time to figure out how to do that. You want to change direction? You know, this is the time when you really understand where your heart wants to take you. Something's working. Okay, how do we learn from that and keep applying it to have a strategy that's going to support us moving forward? You know, the conversation that's taking place between these two guides for you as you move through the month of October is going to let you work with the manifesting abilities of these full moons. And, you know, I feel for many of you, like, really create or drive something forward that feels very meaningful for you. Very meaningful for you. I think it's a time of real recognition for some of the investment and hard work that you've been putting into different areas. And also a time when you get to reflect upon the things that, you know, in spite of the emotional journey that you've been on, There is like a cathartic, very kind of healing process that's taking place with this, you know? So the Three of Swords, of course, comes in with that pain point, yeah? Because maybe we're using this as an antidote to other areas of our life that are still in a difficult place right now. Or maybe we're moving beyond and healing still from something, or having to face something, you know? I mean, this is a powerful month of closure and completion, you know? And endings, there's a form of grief with every ending, even if it's something that you've chosen. So yes, it's set to be emotional. Mercury is moving through a water sign, fellow water sign in Scorpio. And then, of course, we move into Scorpio season later in the month, the 22nd. And, you know, that intensity from both of the illumination of these full moons, you know, is bringing things up to the surface. So, and that, you know, could come kind of surprisingly from nowhere. So it almost feels you need to be prepared for those emotions to kind of catch you off guard a little bit, Pisces. You know, you might be very focused and kind of distracted with other things going on. And then it's almost just like, you know, through the day, through the kind of the application and the choices and decisions that you're making throughout October, there's this kind of undercurrent of energy that wants to be acknowledged, you know? And that's the thing with the Three of Swords. It's incredibly clarifying, you know? It helps us to understand exactly how we feel about something, because the direct impact of the emotion that surfaces is going to tell us. So there's not really an avoidance when it comes to the energy of the Three of Swords, you know? There's something incredibly true about it, incredibly honest and incredibly raw. And, you know, because we're going to be working with Venus in Virgo from the 2nd of the month, it activates that 7th house of relationships. It may be that you're ready, you're prepared to just have those difficult conversations to say how you feel. And of course, we need to remember these retrogrades can bring people or situations or memories and reactivate them into our awareness. And so how you handle that. And I feel quite at peace for you, because that Queen of Coins is coming forward with almost like a little bit of a pragmatic approach. So she will soothe any rawness, any kind of real ache energy, or really sort of challenging emotional moments, all right? So I don't see them derailing you, but like I said, it is set to be a very intense month, this time of October. You also have to remember that the veil is incredibly thin through this month, and so your ability to connect into those loved ones and spirits, to your own team of guides, and to different energies and dimensions, and even to the collective grief, you know, there's something about you just absorbing and sort of picking up on the nuances and the complexities of so many different layers of energy going on. And, you know, that could be incredibly emotional and almost like a grieving process in and of itself, as you see the world changing, as you come to terms with things that are happening and try to make sense of them, you know, from a perspective of just being human here on earth, but also just reflecting in terms of your own, you know, immediate family or those loved ones that, you know, are no longer with you. So I just think that there's a lot that's going to be on your mind and in your heart. And yet here we have Wheel of Fortune stepping forth. Now we have Jupiter now direct, Saturn now direct, as of the end of September, and through October, on the 4th of the month, Pluto moves direct. And so all of these, you know, outer planets now coming to the end of their time working in Capricorn energy. And there's just something about that wheel turning and getting ready, preparing yourself for the next shift of energy. But what I also like about this card coming up for you is it is that really unexpected reward and blessings and opportunity, you know, fate stepping in to deliver some really sweet synchronicity for you. And remember, the magic of the manifesting potential of 2 full moons, you know, in a month that is, you know, culminating in this beautiful time of celebration with Samhain and Halloween, is really quite special. And so be prepared to seize those opportunities. You know, both the Wheel and the Magician is coming in and just saying, do you know what, we're going to deliver something extraordinary exactly the right time that you need it. So be open to what that could be, and really give yourself the permission to say yes, is what I want to say. You know, this is about feeling exploratory, feeling adventurous, you know, being conversational, kind of opening yourself up to new experiences, to new people, to new connections. You know, you have sort of been on this rite of passage, Six of Swords here, you know, and there's something about the way in which you are now processing what you've learned. And I think that's going to help you to kind of seize the moment, seize the day. It's that kind of a motto I've almost got you embracing through this month of October. And like that quote said, even though you might be tired of everything or tired of some aspects of what has unfolded for you, you know, you're still here, you're still showing up, you're still fighting, and you're still ready, you know. So the emotional journey, some of the challenge and the difficulty is ready to be left behind, to be accepted, to be closed out, to be acknowledged fully, so that you can move forward and start to create space. And, you know, if for some of you it's experiences that you don't want to forget because they are beautiful memories, or, you know, things that you hold really special to you, then, you know, that's wonderful. But there's still that sense of urgency that's starting to come forth in the month of October, that's saying you need to prepare yourself for what's next. You need to be ready for the new that's coming in. And what does that mean to you? You know, how are you going to allow that charge to kind of take you forward? You've got to remember, your soul is always programmed to recognize the truth, you know. So in any given situation and circumstance, you always really can tap into what your higher self is trying to show you, you know. Ace of Cups, it's about a new level of joy, a new level of love, divine love, the sense of devotion, the activation of those beautiful senses that might have been dulled because you've been grieving, you've been healing, you've been working through so many different things, you know. And if you have had to move away from, you know, particular people, connections, or there's things that have moved out of your life, I love that we have the new beginning of that ace coming in to say, do you know what? This is a time for you to say, what is it that I want to direct my time, energy, and focus to? And see where the energy is pulling you, you know? See where it's calling you. Because like we said, this is the time where you get to completely reevaluate or reimagine things for yourself. But you have some beautiful bounty coming your way with that Wheel of Fortune, you know? I think it's requiring, though, with that Six of Swords, that you do journey. And, you know, perhaps not physically, but there's some sort of a letting go or a release that needs to happen in order for you to kind of be in the right place at the right time to embrace that. Because here, the Two of Wands wants you forward focused, Pisces, wants you thinking about and planning for your future, seeing the ways in which you've changed, and then thinking about how you're going to honour that. I also think you're going to be incredibly focused in terms of just being able to get quite a lot done. Though, even though we've got that Mars retrograde energy, you know, we talked last month about how that can really streamline. And if there's something that's working, it can really call you in to just say, okay, how do we ride this energy even more? And so I'm seeing you, you know, with the world held in your hands there, just going, right, okay, how do I make the most of this time? How do I make the most of this time or this situation that I find myself in? Because there's some real gifts that are coming your way in that, and you have the ability to manifest, to create, and to really see some meaningful things come your way. Now, of course, the Five of Swords wants to creep in and try to cause some doubt, bring up some fear, try to show you all of the times where something hasn't worked. And if perhaps you are returning to something with that retrograde energy, if you're trying to go back to a relationship and, you know, get a new beginning, if you are trying to start something over or get something going again that has, you know, stalled or feels blocked, you gotta remember that, you know, the ego aspect of the self trying to protect you is going to want to throw up all of the reasons why it's a really bad idea, all of the reasons why it didn't work in the past, all of the ways in which it hurt you, or you struggled, or you weren't able to fulfill or to imagine or to realize something. And yet your back is turned. Your back is turned, and even in the Ace of Cups, you're moving away from that energy, because inherently you know that actually this is no longer who you are. This is not a chapter of yourself that you need to revisit or indeed reread. Okay, yes, we're in retrograde and it's important to go back over the details, but not when they're not serving you, not when all their agenda is about is trying to convince you to do something that isn't for your best and highest good at this moment in time. But, you know, the observation of them can be helpful. It can be helpful. And it's undoubtedly true that through this month, with all of the shift and the change and the intensity, there is going to be a couple of challenges, you know, a couple of roadblocks that we need to try and figure out our way around, okay? So when that happens, when that shows up, what you need to remember is the progress that you've already made, the fact that you are incredibly resourceful this month, that your value and your self-respect and your self-worth has everything to do with the way in which you handle this situation and how you choose to let this overtake your way of thinking or move yourself in a completely different direction. So here we've got 10 of coins coming in, and again I'm just feeling, you know, from a month of an abundance perspective, even if some of you find yourself in hot water, in very difficult, challenging circumstances, okay, understand that level of unexpected opportunity, that you know, that Jupiter blessing coming in with the Wheel of Fortune is helping you to plan and figure a way out of it, right? You're going to be able to get yourself through any challenging situations. But for others, I actually feel this is a time of culmination, and you should set to see some rewards for the effort that you've put in. And if it's not showing up directly from a material perspective, you'll start to see it in the way that you're connecting with people, how your relationships are starting to change, you know? Now, if this is connected into the family environment, okay, maybe we do have some stress or some challenge that we're going to be dealing with. You may feel a little bit emotionally detached or at a distance, or feeling like you're unable to connect to those that you love, okay? Again, if that is the case, Spirit are stepping forth. We're going, how can we make this time work for us? You know, how can we make this time work for us? Back to the quote, you're tired of everything, but look at you, you're still fighting. This is not a month when I see you giving up. You're just not. You're going to find a way through, and you're going to make that magic work for you. And there's something about being able to kind of tap into what it is that makes you feel secure, you know. Home is a place in your heart, Pisces. You know, you get to decide where that is, what that feels like, regardless of where you are, you know. Let's take a look and see how these oracle cards are going to reflect this reading for you. Closure. Well, look, you know, we have these two full moon energies, and it is a time when we are being asked to surrender, to come into acceptance about something having to shift or change or come to an end, okay? But we look at the light that's kind of emanating from the top of this structure here, and the light that really is lighting up the pathway forward for this person here. And we see that in actual fact you are being guided really powerfully. So anything that you have to release and to let go of is to allow the brand new beginning of that Ace of Cups to emerge, you know? And we're in that constant shift and cycle. Okay, but what roots you, what grounds you, what levels you doesn't have to disappear, you know. Yes, the faces might change, the businesses, the jobs might change, the locations, you know, there are all sorts of like details that might go through a metamorphosis and a transformation. Remember, 8th house energy, Libra season for you, is about that ultimate kind of transformation, that death and rebirth process, you know. But who you are within that doesn't need to change. That's only expanding and getting stronger, more resilient, more awake, more enlightened, more knowing of your value and what it is that you're looking for. Okay, so we have your moon card is show the world the real you, full moon in Aquarius. And of course, we're making our way into that you know, Aquarian energy for 2021. And I think that this is a time, you know, when we look at that energy of the Queen and the Alchemist coming through, and they're just wanting you to get focused and really bring out the best of yourself, tap into the potential, and be unafraid to share your gifts, to be who you are, to step into relationships and just own your uniqueness, own everything about you. It's not a time where you're going to allow any of that playing small or that disempowerment. Like, you've gone through too much, you've changed too much, you have to honor it. You absolutely have to honor it. But again, you know, Aquarius is an air energy, and it's about our thoughts, our intellect, the way that we think. And you know, that full moon in Taurus activates that 3rd house, which is all about communication. And even Mercury retrograde in Scorpio was inviting you to challenge yourself in the way that you are now receiving, absorbing information, and then what you choose to share, what you choose to project. You know, are you being true to yourself? Are you being true to yourself? So I've also got these Halloween Oracle cards, which I thought would be fun for this month. Let's take a look and see what comes through here. Okay, so we have the underworld, where all things pause and begin again. And we have this skull with the pomegranate shown here. Pomegranate, of course, is shown in the card of the High Priestess, and does talk about this divine sense of wisdom, this innate connection, sacred connection that we have to the divine. And the underworld, you know, really speaks to me about that 8th house energy, which is ruled by Scorpio, isn't it? And it can be like a difficult place to be. It can be a lonely and isolated place when we're having to go within to own different aspects of our shadow self, and to move through energies that, you know, trigger us relentlessly, repeatedly. But the understanding that that journey is always worthwhile. It's our rite of passage. It's really like that 6 of Swords speaking to us and just saying it's necessary, because there's something that we will unearth about ourselves, and we get to have that metamorphosis moment. So the changing of the wheel, the changing of the season and the cycle, that ability to connect into the other world is really helping you to come to terms with something this month, Pisces. That's what I feel. You're coming to terms with something. And that shift, even though for some of you may be quite difficult, quite challenging, quite emotional, it actually also seems to deliver this whole new level of connection and bondedness, you know. And maybe that's to someone else, and maybe it's just to yourself, the understanding of where you want to and where you're going to choose to devote yourself to moving forward, you know. So this is a general reading, and if it does resonate, and please do revisit it throughout the month, Pisces, because sometimes, you know, the activation of these insights and messages will make more sense as you kind of move through the coming days and weeks. And obviously it will be dependent on really what's going on within your own unique soul journey. But if you'd like to join me for the extended version, we're going to go into a little bit more detail with some of the messages that have come up. The first thing I would invite you to do is just think about a question that I might not have answered for you in this main general spread, and we'll pull a couple of cards on that specifically so we can go into more detail for you. You can find the link for the extended reading in the description box underneath or in the comment section. And it's a way to support my channel, and I really appreciate your support. And even subscribing, dropping me a comment or a like is also gratefully received. So the Queen of Coins is bringing in Knight of Wands, beautiful fire energy, and there is something about that initiation, that beautiful kind of intensity of that full moon in Aries, which is the element of fire, that I think is going to be important. Three of Pentacles, again, this nod to the sort of work, the creativity, the collaboration and the coming together to really deliver something beautiful. Knight of Cups energy here. This feels like it's really reflecting and mirroring you right now, Pisces. With that Magician, we'll take a look here. Of course, there's also an aspect of romance here, and again, another Six of Swords. So maybe you're making your way towards or moving away from a significant relationship. Have a look here, but certainly something to celebrate here. The Sun is also linked into the sign of Leo. That might be relevant for some of you. So at Three of Swords, bringing in the Ace of Wands. Four of Swords. Okay, very healing energy there. Five of Swords coming in again with that Wheel of Fortune. It may be that some of the revelations or surprising information, news or turn of events that happen through this month, do bring a little bit of stress and anxiety for you to deal with. But like I said, it's nothing that you can overcome. You just have to remember who you are and what you've already been through, okay? There's a lot of earthy energy showing up in this reading this month for you. Maybe earth signs are important. We've got a second Magician coming in. I love the Magician's been showing up all through these readings in October, and just reminding us actually just how esoteric, mystical and powerful this October time is. Two of Swords also links into that energy of Libra. Maybe you're going to feel a little bit torn over a decision or a choice to make. King of Wands coming through here. Fire energy, Leo, Sagittarius or Aries. Here we have Eight of Pentacles. There is really meaningful work progress for many of you this month, so please don't feel too unsettled if you have some wild changes that come in that cause you to feel some stress or anxiety, because I think very quickly you're going to find your feet and be presented with new opportunities and possibilities, okay? Empress energy to work with. I think that's a beautiful nod to Venus as well, actually, because she links into the sign of Taurus, and like I said, Venus is trining three beautiful times, toward the end of this month. Moon, of course, links into your sign, Pisces. Another Ace of Cups, beautiful. Something about showing up as your true self is what unlocks this beautiful flow of radiant heart energy. It's what's going to invite in. Oh, I actually love that she showed up, because we mentioned the High Priestess with that pomegranate, didn't we? Okay, so yeah, that Ace of Cups just really opening up your heart space to attract in the things that you are seeking. So listen, thank you so much for tuning into the channel. I really appreciate you being here. If you're joining me for the extended, we will continue this conversation, and if not, then I'm going to wish you beautiful blessings for October, and I will look forward to connecting with you again next month. Take care, Pisces.